So we're going to briefly talk about what is referred to as the fall of Rome. Um, uh, oh, Again, so essentially the Byzantine Empire held together while the Western Empire was overrun by the Visigoths in 378. They killed the emperor in the west. In 410, they invaded Italy and sacked Rome. Justinian dreamed of reuniting the empire and regaining control of Italy and southern Spain. After his death, the empire became a small area centered on Constantinople. Of the Germanic kingdoms, the Franks survived, and the Franks conquered most of France and Belgium and founded the Merovingian dynasty. They also converted to Christianity. They were eventually deposed in 751 with the blessing of deposed in 451 with the blessing of the Pope by Pepin the Short, establishing the Carolingian dynasty, which of who Charles the Great, Charlemagne is his son, so Charlemagne of fame. Charlemagne founds the Holy Roman Empire. He conquered most of Europe and into Italy, founded schools. In around 800 CE, the Pope crowned him Emperor of the Romans. And I love that on Crash Course World History, he calls the Holy Roman Empire the not holy, not Roman, and not an empire, which is all sort of true. So basically they had contact between East and West, with the Byzantine styles heavily influencing European dress for quite a while. So we start to see the same sort of larger open sleeves. And just like hemlines and waistlines going up and down over time, the sleeve size gets really, really huge over time. In Spain is always a very interesting place because it's always had quite a bit of Islamic influence. And in Islam, math and architecture are extremely beautiful, well-defined and advanced. And so in 711, the Moors, who were Berbers from Morocco, invaded Spain. Charlemagne and his heirs could not defeat them, and partial unification of Europe did not last past his death. There's the baptistry that he was baptized in, supposedly. Now everyone thinks he was actually baptized in the East, but this style of octagonal worship house goes on to create other styles of this building, and was probably also slightly influenced by Islamic architecture, because there are other buildings in Islam that are built with this octagonal ground plan. I'm going to run through this very quickly. I just want you to have a broad sense of it, because I want to get to some things that are a little bit more useful as we move through in history. The Dome of the Rock specifically is one of these buildings. It was built in 691 CE. It contains the rock from which Muhammad ascended. Christians claim it is the site where Abraham was told to kill his son, and it has octagonal walls and a dome. So this is the Persian tiles on the exterior marble slabs were added in 1561, so realize that, although the style, as you can tell, looks very Byzantine as well. So this is what the interior of the Dome of the Rock looks like. And this is what that octagonal structure looks like if you cut through it. Here is the ground plan. There's a mosque in the cathedral in Cordoba. It says a mosque and a cathedral, because a lot of these spaces began as one thing and then were converted, and then were converted back and forth over time depending on who was ruling. So it's known as the Cathedral of Our Lady of the Assumption. It began as a Visigothic Catholic church from around 600. And then it was divided into Muslim and Christian halves in the 710s. It was Islamic from 784 to 1236, and then it's become a Catholic church from 1236 to the present, on the Iberian Peninsula, which is in Spain. So this is what it looks like from the outside. It sort of grew over time. It's been used for lots of different things, and added to over time. It's got a cupola, which is a relatively small, often dome-like structure on the top of the building. It is often used to provide a lookout or to admit light or air, and it usually crowns a larger roof or dome. And so that's what we're looking at. You can also see the intense decoration on it. Then there's also the arcade. So an arcade is a series of arches. And you can see why this is really inspiring for a theater artist. Imagine being able to put something like this on stage for a real legitimate reason. It's just really gorgeous. At some point I really want to go there. And so here again is what this space looks like on the inside. Part of the reason I'm showing this to you is because there are all of these different kinds of arches that are used, that begin in Islamic art and then later inspire the rest of civilization. So those arches have names. So the first is the pointed arch. This is a mosque in Cairo. This is obviously not the one that influenced, because it was built in 1386, but I want to show you these examples of arches. There's the keyhole arch, so that you can see that it has this curved over 180 degrees. It looks like a keyhole, right? It's beautiful, beautiful stuff. There's the four centered arch, so it's not just a pointed arch, but it's a widened arch. There are interlacing arches, which look like this. And the ogee arch, my favorite, ogee. So that curve is an ogee curve. See the mathematics involved in making it. And then there's also multi-lobed arches, and that's what these look like. There's also varieties of the squinch. So as I was pointing out, with squinches are in architecture, all these different ways to decorate them in Islamic architecture. And there's different types of domes to take a look at. Finally, there's minarets, which are used to call the faithful to prayer. These are different kinds of minarets that you may see in the world, and they're just really kind of neat. You should see some at some point if you haven't already. I just wanted to share some of the broad sense of Islamic architecture with you all, just because it is kind of magnificent, even if it is just rushing through it quickly so that you're exposed to it and you know it exists.